Hey there guys, I am finally here to do a pregnancy update. I know it has been, I think, 5 weeks. I actually did record my 20-week update last week and it was completely blurry. I don't know why. And I tried to see if I could fix some of it because it wasn't like really bad. But once it uploaded, the quality goes down just slightly and it just was not, I couldn't do it. So if you guys follow our vlogging channel, then you know that we have stepped back our vlogging to 3 days a week there. So that is going to allow me more time to hopefully focus on this channel too and bring you guys more consistent content. At minimum, I'm going to be posting every Thursday unless something big comes up, but I am also going to maybe throw in a random video here and there if I have the time and the idea to do one for you guys. So I'm going to hop though into the pregnancy update because I have a lot to update you guys on. So let's get started. So the biggest update with this pregnancy is the obvious part of I am now over halfway through this pregnancy, which is crazy. This pregnancy has definitely gone so much faster, and I've been watching a lot of second-time moms pregnancy updates or moms that already have more than 2 kids, and pretty much everyone says the same thing, that the pregnancy just goes so much faster. And I think it's because you already have a child that you're currently trying to focus on, and so the pregnancy and how many days you are, how many weeks you are, all that isn't consuming your mind as much. So things just go so fast, and to me it's just like, oh my goodness, we're almost halfway there and we're gonna have another little girl here, and that's crazy. But we are so excited, and for those of you guys that have been asking, yes, a name reveal is coming on December 14th on our vlogging channel, so make sure to go subscribe to that channel so you get notified when that video goes up, but it will be up that day for sure. We are super excited to get to finally share baby girl's name with you guys. A few times I've almost wanted to say it while vlogging, so it's gonna be nice to finally get to tell you guys so we can just say her name whenever. So moving on to updates baby girl wise, she is moving all the time, and I mean all the time. She used to be pretty lazy, and she's been a good kicker, but she would just kind of kick randomly, and then she'd stop. Like, she'd kick once or twice and be like, here Ryan, feel, and then she'd stop. And Ryan has felt her move a couple times, but not a ton. But definitely she's been moving a ton more the past 2 days and a lot harder, and always today it seems to be on my bladder, which is not very fun. But it's good to know and very reassuring now that she is just moving all the time. I don't have to worry about anything. It's if she's moving, I know she's good in there most likely. So I also did just have my anatomy scan yesterday, and that's kind of what this title is talking about. So we have a few concerns with this pregnancy, and it seems like this pregnancy is just so opposite from Revelin. Obviously there are much more serious concerns than the one we have, and I'm super grateful for that. But this pregnancy has been night and day difference from Revelin, even though they are both girls. So the biggest thing with this one is I went in for my anatomy scan and everything baby-wise was fine, but with my particular obstetrician, they do a vaginal ultrasound before the anatomy scan to check your cervix length, and I guess they do this with everyone. At this point in my pregnancy, I was with a different obstetrician when I was pregnant with Revelin, so they didn't do this, but this one does. And my cervix was only measuring 2.5 centimeters. And at this point in pregnancy, it should be between 3.5 and 4.5 centimeters. So that's quite a drastic difference in centimeters. And so they are concerned about that. So basically the next 4 weeks, I have an ultrasound every single week to see if it stays the same, if it gets longer, or if it gets shorter. If it gets shorter, then they're gonna have to put me on a progesterone to hopefully get that to thicken back up and prevent preterm labor. And if that doesn't work, worst case scenario, as they described it, and this sounds terrifying, she said they would have to stitch my cervix shut, and that really scared me. That sounds terrifying, and I'm sure I would be put under for that, obviously, but anything, especially being put under when you're pregnant, just kind of terrifies me. And I apologize if lighting's going, I'm just using natural lighting, so I can't tell the sun whether to get brighter or get darker. But so right now that's kind of what we're worried about. So if it does continue to get shorter, then I have to worry about being a preterm labor risk. So basically the way it works is during pregnancy, your cervix obviously gets shorter and shorter, or it thins out, as they say. And for about 2.5, I'm pretty sure you should be over 30 weeks to be about that. And so being only 21 weeks, it's a concern because it would mean that if my cervix keeps thinning out, then I would go into labor much earlier, and most likely at a time that baby would have a very difficult time surviving outside the womb. So It's definitely something that's scary to think about, and I'm trying not to, because at this point there is a chance that I just have a short cervix, and because I didn't have this done with Revelyn before, I have no way to know if that was the same problem with her. But with every pregnancy, your cervix changes and is different. So it technically doesn't really even matter what my cervix was like at this point in my pregnancy with Revelyn, just because every pregnancy it is different. But if I had had a shorter cervix with her and it wasn't an issue, obviously they had to kick her out, then I'd be less concerned. So over the next 4 weeks, I am not on bed rest, but I'm not supposed to pick up anything over 15 pounds, and Revelyn is just over 15 pounds. So I told that to the fetal geneticist, and he was just saying I can still hold her, but I have to do it as least possible, and if somebody is home, then they need to be carrying her around and such. So it's very concerning, especially because I am still breastfeeding, and you are not supposed to breastfeed when you are a preterm labor risk. So because the weaning process is gradual and I have no idea how this outcome is going to happen, I am just going to start weaning her now, which means that we should at least make it to a year, I hope, because that is my goal. I want to be able to at least be breastfeeding her, even if it's once a day, till she's a year old. But I don't want to wait till the end of the 4 weeks and find out I am preterm labor risk and then have to cut her right away, as opposed to just slowly weaning her now, if that makes sense. So it's been frustrating because I'm trying to wean Revelyn and she starts weaning herself, and then I'll start supplementing her, and as soon as she realizes what's going on, she'll go back to the boob and she will eat longer than ever before. Basically though, that is the biggest risk, and I had a risk before that also, but it was a very small one, which was my weight gain. Up until this past week or two, I had gained 0 weight. It seemed like I had gained some weight, and then I got food poisoning. I lost it, but I never got it back. So I had gained 0 weight at my last appointment when I should have gained between 5 or 10 pounds. But as of today, I have gained 3 pounds, which is still not in the 5 to 10 pound range, but it's still something. It's just hard to get enough calories to gain the weight, especially because I may not look it, but I am actually 30 pounds overweight. I hide my weight well, it distributes very evenly. But prior to this pregnancy, I was 153 and my healthy weight is 120. So I do have quite a bit of extra weight on me, and so because of that, and then the breastfeeding, feeding a baby in my womb and myself, it's very easy to lose weight or not gain any. So that is kind of something I'm trying to figure out, just trying to get enough food, and I'm constantly eating, but I'm still constantly hungry. So I'm just glad though that now I've at least gained 3 pounds, because that is progress, and that means that we're headed in the right direction, even if it's not within the standard range. Besides concerns with me-wise, little B-Net is doing great. Everything is measuring right. I do have her fetal echo, which I talked about a while back, on when I'm 24 weeks, and so we'll have that. But a few times they have looked at the heart, like the anatomy scan, everything's looked good. Just at the fetal echo, they're gonna look at it very in depth to see. If you guys missed that, it was talking about looking for a hole in the heart for baby girl, because I had one. So they just want to check, make sure everything's good, and so they're going to do that 24 weeks. I'll link that update though below if you want to know in depth about that. Oh, and also going along with that, I am seeing a geneticist for myself. I mentioned briefly, I think in that same video about the heart stuff, that there was a possibility that I had a connective tissue disorder, and I do have an appointment with a geneticist on the 23rd. They wanted to get me in quickly because I am pregnant, it's a bigger risk, and I've been having more issues too. So we're doing that to see basically if I have it, and then if I do and it's a concern for our kids, then they'll test them, but they don't like to test kids for that because it's not just like a blood test. They have to basically look at your body and then look at your past history and stuff like that, so it's more in depth, which is why they don't like to test kids. But Revelyn, as some of you guys may know, she dislocated her arm just in her sleep. So that is mainly why I'm going to find out, just because if it's going to be an issue for her, we want to know. So I do have a meeting for that. So really though, with this pregnancy, I am just super, super grateful that everything kind of problematic going on is just with me. Obviously the cervix problem poses a threat to baby girl, but at this point I'm just trying to focus on the fact that it's not a for sure that it is a issue, but it's just a small concern. So at this point, obviously, so in the next 4 weeks, if you guys could just say prayers that I just have a short cervix, and this is not going to be a problem, because if it is, obviously aside from baby girl being at risk, it's going to be really hard the rest of my pregnancy, because I will likely be on bed rest, and it's going to be hard to take care of Revelyn, and I'm super worried about that. I don't even want to try to think about that. So prayers are very much so appreciated and welcomed. I'm so super thankful for you guys. Thank you for all the well wishes and the comments and messages asking how I'm doing. If I'm not able to get back to all of you guys, I do apologize. I do get a lot of messages and comments from you guys just because you guys are awesome, and I'm not always able to get back to you. So I just want to say thank you, and I really appreciate it. So that is pretty much it for this update. Obviously not the most positive one, but baby girl is doing good, and that's what I'm focusing on. So I will see you guys early next week with Revelyn's 11-month update. Yeah, she's gonna be a year soon. See you guys next time. Bye. I almost forgot to do the bump shot, so we're gonna do the bump shot really quick. Okay, what is so funny? Why didn't you tell me it was that then?
Because you didn't finish saying it, and then you're like, no, I don't think that's it.